Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by. I'm Carol and I'm glad to have you here. I hope you will consider subscribing. So today I have another canning video for you. This is a recipe I've been wanting to try for a while and I've kind of backburnered it, but I had pineapples on sale in my grocery store, so I thought now would be a good time to give it a try. And it is the sweet pineapple chili sauce that is on the Ball Mason Jars website. So this is my first time trying this recipe, and there are a couple things that I wanted to point out. First and foremost, what I wanted to say is the picture that they show on their website of the chili sauce is red. I followed the instructions exactly as they are, and they do use the red bird's eye chilies in the recipe, but my sauce did not turn red. So I don't really have an explanation for that, but I'm just wanted to give you a heads up because you will probably run into that as well. I know sometimes for aesthetic purposes, they do doctor things up in our canning books and on the website. So I'm not sure what happened. Thai chili sauce, traditionally, if you buy it in the grocery store, it does have a red hue as well. So I don't know if it was just the bird's eye peppers that I purchased or what, but my chili sauce did not turn red. So that was the first thing I wanted to point out. This is a delicious take on a traditional Thai chili sauce that you find in the grocery store. I love Thai chili sauce. I have it on hand all the time. You can use it for so many different things. You can add some to barbecue sauce to give it kind of an Asian flair. You can use it as a dipping sauce for spring rolls or egg rolls. You can use it as a glaze for chicken or fish, particularly delicious with shrimp. You can use it as a hot sauce over vegetables. You can use it on a burger or in lettuce wraps. You can add it to potato salad. You can use it in a stir fry. You can use it to make sticky wings. So there's lots of great ways to use it. It's a fantastic condiment to have on hand. I will warn you, however, it is quite spicy. So if you don't groove on spice, you're probably not going to like this, but it does have Ball's recipe is really delicious. The pineapple really shines through. You get the little bit of lime in the background, and it tastes really amazing. Great combination of sweet and spicy. So I really like the recipe that they created here using the tropical flavor of pineapple and lime in addition to the peppers. So you don't need very many ingredients, but I do want to go over the ingredients because there are a few important things to note. So you need 1.5 cups of finely diced pineapple, and you do want to make sure it is finely diced. Almost a minced consistency works the best. 3/4 cup of pineapple juice. Make sure you're using pure pineapple juice. You're not using a pineapple juice cocktail. Make sure it is 100% juice. The star of our show, of course, are Thai chili peppers. Now, they note to use red ones. The ones that I bought were multicolored. They do come in orange. They do come in green. And then, of course, the traditional red. So that is what they look like. If you're not familiar with what bird's eye peppers look like, this is what they look like. They're small, but they are mighty. They pack a really spicy punch. So make sure, because they are so spicy, make sure you are very careful when you are preparing them. Either use gloves or thoroughly wash your hands, your knife, and whatever surfaces they touch, because that residue does stay on surfaces, and it will stay on your hands. So if you touch your face or your eyes or whatever, it will cause you a problem. So make sure that you are aware of that. We need 4 cloves of minced garlic. You need 1/2 cup of white vinegar. You need to make sure you read the label, guys. There are a lot of things in the grocery store these days that are not like they used to be. So when you are choosing a white vinegar for canning, make sure the label does state that it is 5% acidity. When I was looking at this recipe, I thought, oh, rice vinegar would be really nice in here to give it more of an Asian background flavor. I couldn't find any rice vinegar that was 5% acidity. It was 4.2, I believe. So maybe rice vinegar cannot reach that 5% acidity. So you can swap out another vinegar safely as long as it is 5% of acidity. So if you prefer to use a white wine vinegar or even apple cider vinegar would be great in this recipe because of its sweetness component. It'd be fine. Just make sure you read the label and it does state it is 5% acidity. We need the zest of 1 lime, which is fantastic in here. That lime zest in the background was just really delicious, I thought. You need 3 tablespoons of bottled lime juice. And yes, it does need to be bottled, and it does need to say 100% lime juice. So make sure you read the label carefully. Please do not use fresh lime juice here. They are using that as part of the preserving part of this recipe because it is a water bath or a steam canning recipe, so the acidity is very important in here. So make sure you use bottled. The reason behind bottled versus fresh is bottled versions of lemon and or lime juice are the acidity level is controlled. So make sure it is bottled. You need 1.5 cups of sugar. I use granulated sugar. I have not tried brown sugar. I don't know that that would be great in here, so just regular granulated sugar. 1 teaspoon of salt, and then optional is a teaspoon of dried red pepper flakes. My opinion is you do not need those unless you like something that's super spicy, because the bird's eye peppers are really, like I said, really spicy on their own. They pack a tremendous amount of punch. This is a really simple recipe to put together, so I'm gonna bring you in close and we're gonna get started. Okay guys, we are all set to get started. We are going to add 1.5 cups of finely diced pineapple to our saucepan. To that, we're gonna add 3/4 cup of pineapple juice, 1/2 cup of vinegar, 4 bird's eye chili peppers finely minced. I did remove the stems, but I left the seeds. 4 cloves of fresh garlic that I minced. The zest of 1 lime. 3 tablespoons of bottled lime juice. 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. And 1 teaspoon of salt. If you wanted to bump up your heat a little more, you could add the crushed red pepper flakes. I'm gonna be really good with just the bird's eye peppers, so I don't think I'm gonna add any more. We're going to bring this to a boil over medium-high heat. Once it comes to a full boil, we're gonna reduce the heat and we're gonna simmer it 10 to 15 minutes until it starts to thicken. While that's happening, I am going to get my canner and my jars ready. As my sauce has been simmering for about 10 to 15 minutes, it is starting to thicken a little bit, and that is what we are looking for. I do want to note here that Ball does show in their picture that their sauce was red. Mine did not turn red from my peppers. I'm not sure why, but I followed the instructions exact, but it just didn't turn red, and that's totally fine. So we are all set for canning. All right, modern canning guidelines state that we do not need to pre-sterilize jars or lids as long as we are canning for 10 minutes or more. So, and we are going to be processing for 15 minutes. So I just washed my jars. I've kept them hot in my canner. My lids I washed and set aside. I am using Ball canning lids, so they do not need to be simmered. Make sure that whatever lids you are using, you are following the instructions that come with the lids. There's all kinds of companies out there now making lids, and they all have different instructions. So make sure you know if you should simmer them or you should not simmer them. If you simmer a lid that is not supposed to be simmered, that's not intended to be simmered first, you can compromise your seal. So make sure you know what the instructions are for the lids that you are using. I do have 3 quarts of simmering water in the bottom of my steam canner. You may also water bath can this recipe as well. So we are ready to fill our jars, and we are going to fill our jars to 1/2 inch of headspace. All right, once you've reached 1/2 inch headspace, you're going to use a debubbling tool, plastic butter knife, or chopstick to release any air bubbles. If your headspace changes, you can add more to adjust. We're going to take a paper towel dipped in white vinegar to clean our rims. Make sure you are starting with hot jars. It's important that your jars are hot. Then we're going to center our lids. Then add our bands to fingertip tight. In the canner they go. Okay Okay guys, like I mentioned, I am steam canning, so you can also water bath can this. If you're steam canning, make sure you follow the instructions that come with your steam canner. I had 3 quarts of simmering water in the bottom of my steam canner. If you're a water bath canning, you want to make sure that the water covers your jars by at least an inch once they are put inside your canner. So I'm going to bring my canner up to temperature. For steam canning, you have a dial gauge on top that tells you when to start your processing time. If you're a water bath canning, you're going to make sure your water comes to a full rolling boil before you start your processing time. I'm going to be processing for 15 minutes for my altitude. Make sure you know your altitude in case you need to make adjustments on time. Once we get to the proper temperature for processing, you want to adjust your heat just to make sure you maintain a full rolling boil or just stay in your green zone on your dial gauge on your canner. So process for 15 minutes and then I'll bring you back. Okay guys, we are all done. I processed for 15 minutes, like I told you. Then I let my jar sit for about 5 minutes, took the lid off, and they've sat an additional 5. But I want to show you how pretty the sauce is. Now again, I don't really know why it didn't turn red. Other than it has to do with the peppers I used, even though I did use the red bird's eye pepper. So I don't know, mine didn't turn red, but it's still really pretty. And it's very, very tasty. I will warn you, it is quite spicy, so if you don't like a lot of heat, you may want to cut down on the amount of peppers you put in, and certainly skip the red pepper flakes. So this sauce is going to be fantastic. As I mentioned before, you can add it to barbecue sauce. You can use it as a dipping sauce for egg rolls or spring rolls. You can make a salad dressing out of it. You could also use it as a glaze for chicken or salmon. So lots of amazing, tasty ways to use it. So I hope you will give it a try. If you have any comments or questions, leave them for me in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you next time. Have a fantastic day.